Hello everyone, it's Emma and welcome back to my channel and welcome to my favorite video that I do every year, plastic I still consume as an environmentalist. Because yes, no environmentalist, no zero waster is perfect in this imperfect world. We can only consume what we have access to, and some things in my life I just don't have access to plastic free. So let's dive into them. These are things that I either don't have access to plastic free or that I'm going to keep consuming because it either brings me joy or it's good for my health. We'll talk about more as we go along. If you're new here, I talk about all sorts of things zero waste, focusing on free, easy, and fun ways to live low waste, making zero waste practical. Hence this video, to show you that nobody is perfect, nobody can ever be perfect when it comes to zero waste, but our actions matter, particularly our small positive actions, they do matter. Every single piece of plastic that we refuse matters, but every single piece of plastic that we still have to consume for our own well-being is not causing climate change. So let's get into it. We're gonna start in the kitchen over here. And again, this is, let's just set it down and then we'll talk. The lighting in here, yep, it sucks. The lighting is terrible, which is why I film over there. This isn't terrible. Let's first start in the fridge. I used to be pretty anti buying milk and packaging because it's in packaging. And I'm like, I don't really consume that much milk. Why should I buy it? I'm just gonna give it up. And then this winter, I found out that I'm vitamin D deficient. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll take a supplement. I also need calcium in order to absorb vitamin D. So I get both in here. I get vitamin D and calcium in here. I just have like a little coffee, hot chocolate. I'll put some in my smoothie. I only buy one a week and then I buy it in recyclable packaging. And if you want to learn more about Tetra Pak and you're like, wait, this kind of packaging is actually recyclable, I didn't know that. You can check out this video up here. I only just learned that recently too. So yeah, and of course I choose oat milk because it has one of the lowest impacts on the planet and I also think it's the tastiest. And speaking of dairy-free, I also occasionally get dairy-free yogurt. I don't buy it a whole ton because if I eat it too often, it starts to freak me out. Calcium and vitamin D and B12, which is important if you're plant-based vegan. And then I buy the biggest container as possible. Instead of buying a bunch of little tiny yogurts, I just buy one big one. It'll get me how many servings? 4 servings? I get more out of that. I probably get like 6 to 8 servings out of this. So this is at least better than buying individual plastic containers. We also buy a couple condiments plastic free. We got some gochujang, we've got some ketchup. And then when it comes to condiments like this, we buy the biggest amount as possible to reduce packaging over the long run, particularly things that aren't gonna expire for a while, like ketchup. I don't use a ton of ketchup, so it's best to just buy as the bigger packaging up front instead of buying like 2 or 3 smaller ones. Gosh, and we've had this gochujang forever, and this container is really nice, so I'll probably just reuse this container. Something we buy every single week though is hummus. And we do like to buy the bigger tubs of it when possible, just like with the ketchup. We also like to support family brands, and this is the only brand of family-owned hummus at our grocery store that we have right now. So this is the brand that we're going with. Living zero waste is kind of a game of give and take. Like, do you want to reduce emissions or do you want to reduce physical waste? Do you want to reduce physical waste or do you want to support a small business instead of a polluting company? And these containers, again, reusable if you want to. If not, they are fully recyclable. And that's kind of how I prioritize my plastic usage, is I try to buy as recyclable or as reusable as possible. I know our recycling system is broken and flawed. A little bit of recyclable is better than no recyclable. And you can learn more about the different types of packaging in this video. We also have condiments in here, like maple syrup and buffalo sauce, both of which do come in glass, but just for transparency, they do contain plastic in the cap as well. Of course, it is fully reusable, but even if you do recycle the glass part, this plastic part is not recyclable. Okay, and I think our biggest downfall, we're big fans of cheese. Berries. It's so hard to find berries plastic free. Blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, unless you're like shopping at a farmer's market, but it's January, so we don't have access to farmer's markets right now, and we're in Ohio. Can't really grow berries in Ohio all that well. So we buy a lot of berries in packaging. Again, fully recyclable packaging. This dairy-free cheese from Meijer is so good. True goodness. If you have Meijer near you, try it out. It's so good. I think it's better than Violife and Miyoko's. And those are some of the best brands on the market. This is so good. It's made from oats. Fascinating. Most of them are made from cashew. Coconut oil and starch. Miyoko's is cashew. None of this is recyclable. But what you can do, and what we have been doing while we're living with my mom, but we're gonna stop doing once we stop living here, is eco-bricking. If you wanna learn more about eco-bricking, you can check it out up here, but I don't think eco-bricking is perfect. I think if you want to do it, go for it, but we don't have room to do it in the RV. And it's also annoying to clean out these cheese bags, so I throw them away. Another family-owned brand that we like to support is Wyman's Berries, and they do come in plastic, clearly. But once again, we buy the biggest bag of berries as possible instead of like 3 smaller ones because they're going in the freezer anyway. They're gonna last forever, so you might as well just buy a big bag. I've been using a lot recently, I've been using a lot recently making smoothies. This bag does have a zipper, so it is reusable, and it is a freezer bag. I guess that would be a good reuse, is to reuse this as a freezer bag when you're done with it. I don't eat a ton of fruit. So by having a daily smoothie, I'm therefore being healthy. It's important to get all your essential vitamins and nutrients. And if the only way that I can do that is by buying a big bag of fruit that will last me probably a month, I only throw away one of these a month, I think it's okay. I think something that I really don't like about the zero waste movement is that people all too often compromise their health for the planet. If you're gonna be that intense about it, that's on you. But I don't think you should do that, because me using 1 bag of berries a month, me using 1 bottle of milk, 1 container of milk per week, that's not killing the planet. It's not. Would it be better for the planet if I didn't consume it? Potentially. You can't fight for the planet if you're unhealthy. So keep yourself healthy and do other things in your life that have a bigger impact than 1 bag of berries. The pantry. We do have a couple things in here. One of them, again, for our health, being nutritional yeast. While it is tasty, this is also pretty much the only way that we get vitamin B12 as people who don't eat meat. And even people who do eat meat, you might not even be getting enough B12. So this is just one way that we stay healthy. This was a recent purchase, sesame seeds. They did come in plastic, but like we used this for a week straight. That's how much we've used. We've used 1 knuckle worth of sesame seeds. So these are gonna last forever. And they expire this year. That's weird. Maybe I'll make some tahini with it. We have a couple snacky items, one of them being wheat thins. This is a favorite of ours. And while it does come in paper, it also has a plastic bag inside. Tortilla chips are a big one. We also bought regular tortillas this week for some wraps that we were having for meals. And then Dan is on a big granola kick. Once again, we buy the biggest amount as we can instead of the smaller bags. Down there is our seasonings, our spices and stuff. We buy as much in glass as possible, but we did buy a few in plastic, like these bay leaves. This was the only option at the store. There wasn't one in glass, or we probably would have bought it in glass. And then this cinnamon, I chose this larger cinnamon over like 3 small glass ones because overall it does reduce packaging, even if it is still in plastic. Reducing any amount of single use is the best in my opinion, especially because as we learned in that which packaging is best video, glass really isn't all it's cracked up to be. Right now we're doing that with our spices. When we were living in Washington, we did have access to a bulk store and we were getting all of our spices in bulk. But for now, that's what we're doing. We're buying spices in bulk now, just the bigger sizes instead of all the smaller ones. Once again, some of the worst lighting I have ever seen. Sorry. Welcome to the bathroom. Here's what we have in here. Some deodorant. This is the last of Dan's deodorant that he's using in plastic. We have both since switched, once he's done with that, to wild deodorant refills. What you do, mine's at the very end, so it's kind of falling out. Of course it won't fall out when I want it to. It falls out all the time on accident. Dude, here, these come in cardboard. You add one of these to your little deodorant right here. It moves up and down like a normal deodorant. But until then, using the rest of our plastic, that is something very important that I don't think people talk about enough. Use what you have first. Yes, this comes in plastic. It's just so much more sustainable to use what you already have instead of throwing this good product away. So Dan is also a contact user, so we buy multi-purpose contact solution, I don't know, once a quarter. He gets a pack of 2 bottles. They last him a while. It's a plastic #1, so it is recyclable. He has transitioned into wearing glasses more often than not because when in the Air Force, he couldn't wear glasses, but now as a civilian, he can do whatever he wants. So he has been using this less, as well as contacts. Contacts are plastic, if you didn't know. Dan's got some shaving cream over here. And then I have some toothpaste. Lots of toothpaste in plastic and mouthwash. As if you watch the bloopers of one of my recent videos, I have had 10 cavities. I just got the last 3 filled yesterday. I have now upped my dental care routine to something a little more rigorous. I'm going to be using mouthwash probably pretty regularly now, as well as high fluoride toothpaste. First off, finding a fluoride eco toothpaste is so rare, let alone a high fluoride toothpaste. If you're not swallowing the fluoride, it really shouldn't affect you. And if it does, I don't care. I would rather have teeth. But my teeth, clearly, they need some help. So I'm gonna help them out as much as I can because I would rather have teeth than not have teeth. And if that means using a little bit of plastic every month, then so be it. Again, maybe that's a hot take. Maybe most people say that I should just let my teeth go. This one is a surprising one. This is bag in can technology. This is first aid spray for new piercings, which I don't get all that often, but this stuff is really nice. Is there a bag in here? I want to cut it open and find out when I'm done with it. But even then, it does have a plastic cap. The bottle is metal though. A lot of our other stuff, we've got some moisturizer, some toner, some lotion, some shampoo. My floss is plastic free these days. Well, for the most part. I use this reusable floss pick from Quip, but the actual floss itself is plastic. Once it runs out though, I am going to fill it with my bioplastic floss and make it totally zero waste. My tattoo aftercare, which you can check out that video up here, is entirely plastic free these days. So yeah, really, we're doing pretty good in the bathroom department. I have had to fall back in a couple areas, like the dental care, for example, because I can use plastic-free toothpaste all day long, but if it's going to make my teeth fall out, I'm not about that. Over here, we do have a couple more things. Vitamin D deficiency. I have to take my vitamin D supplements. That's a non-recyclable bottle. It should be a 5. Yep. I've got some hair dye. As you can see, I got purple hair. Surprise! Maybe you're colorblind. Maybe you didn't know. My hair is purple. I bought this dye from Good Dye Young. It's Hayley Williams from Paramore. And I saw an ad for it and I'm like, listen, this is about as eco as you get. It's not perfect. No hair dye company is going to be perfect. I would rather support this small business than someone else. And I dye my hair at home now, most of the time, because it does reduce waste. This will last me probably at least 2 more uses, maybe 3 more. So it reduces waste in that aspect, as well as I only have to use gloves at home. When in a salon, they have to use a ton of waste. So I like that aspect of it as well. More medicine. Most of this packaging is paper. It's a paper box with paper instructions, but this little blister pack is... It might be fully aluminum. It might be aluminum plastic. I can't tell. I don't know. I don't recycle this bit just because I don't want to be wish cycling. But anyway, I have chronic migraines. If you didn't know, if you want to learn more about how I still live zero waste while dealing with chronic illness, you can check out this video. But thankfully, this is all the medicine I need for this time. So it is relatively low waste for someone who has to take meds a lot. It's also expensive, so I have to ration. I've got some old makeup in here, some foundation, more foundation, some old eyeshadow palettes. They're all made out of plastic. Once I'm done with them, I won't be buying them in plastic again, but just for transparency's sake, there's still some plastic in my makeup bag. Denahi's Dental Care is plastic. We've got a couple other odds and ends in here, like some aloe. This is bioplastic, but it is still plastic. Some wipes from Care. Organic tampons from Dame still come wrapped in plastic. So like, it's still much less plastic than a traditional tampon, but there's still some plastic. This is a really good low waste option if you're not into menstrual cups and period underwear. I really like these. Some dog shampoo. You know, we could get shampoo bars, but this is specifically for flea and tick. And when we live in the Pacific Northwest, if we live there again, fleas and ticks are so bad. So we'll take precautions to protect our pets, even if it consumes a little bit of plastic. As you should. Your pet's health, your kids' health, anybody's health should never come after the planet. Take care of yourselves, and then you can take care of the planet. That's the message of this video. A few more things that we consume in plastic, but that I don't have right now. Things for our hobbies. I have been using a lot of cotton and wool yarn recently, but I still use plastic yarn, like my sweater, for example, that I made for myself. Entirely made out of polyester. Hiking. We use a lot of plastic when we go hiking and backpacking because it's best. Buy pre-made meals for the weekend, and they come in a lot of packaging because they are all dehydrated and have special instructions and so forth. Snacks as well, in general, like while we're out and about, while we're hiking, if we need a quick snack on a road trip, it's very, very difficult to find a plastic-free snack, especially like when hiking and backpacking. The plastic packaging also just helps it last longer while you're out in the backcountry. Other things we do is we do our absolute best to bring reusable containers when we go out to eat in case we have leftovers, as well as bring our reusable coffee cups when we go out to get coffee. But sometimes, again, we're imperfect. Everyone is imperfect. Sometimes we forget, and sometimes we use things like styrofoam and disposable coffee cups. Ooh, sometimes we do go through drive-thrus while we're on road trips, and we gave in the other day. We went on a little, I don't know, excursion, and we were hungry afterwards, so we got some spicy potato tacos, which Taco Bell is one of the least wasteful restaurants you can eat out at if you're choosing the drive-thru, same with Chipotle. So we kind of gauge off of that as well, like how plastic-free is this drive-thru experience gonna be? And while it does create some waste, some plastic, Taco Bell's not so bad. Maybe not necessarily a hobby, but I do sew a lot to mend our stuff. And thread is plastic usually. It is usually polyester. A lot of our clothing that we get for outdoor adventures, even like our gear, is made out of plastic. Our backpacks, our tents, our coats, our mittens, a lot of that is made out of plastic because it is the lightest, it is the most durable, and it is usually the most waterproof as well. So we also consume a lot of plastic in our life that isn't necessarily single use, and that's just something I want to, bring awareness to as well, is that even these most perfect zero wasters online may not use a lot of single use plastic, but they're still using plastic in the form of their technology and stuff like that. Something I don't like about the zero waste movement is that recycling counts as zero waste, which is great, but recycling is so broken that like using a single-use metal can, a single-use paper bag seems better than plastic, and it is in terms of emissions as well. It's very nuanced. Again, check out that video about materials. Still, single-use is not the answer. While it's still really great to avoid as much single-use plastic packaging as possible, we should be striving to avoid all single-use packaging, no matter what the material is, because recycling is so broken. I hope that you learned something from this video. I hope that this was fun and just shed some light on the fact that no matter what someone appears like online, they're not perfect. They're still using plastic probably behind the scenes. And if they're not using plastic, they're still using single use. In this wasteful world, we can only work with what we have access to. If I had access to berries and hummus plastic free, I would probably consume that, but I don't have access to it. I'm not sure anybody does. And same with anything that is for my health, my teeth, my migraines, my vitamin D deficiency. I'm not going to sacrifice that for the sake of the planet, it's only a couple pieces of plastic every couple months. It's not a ton of waste. I think these occasional purchases here and there that I showed you today really are not what matters. What matters is regular purchases that you're making in plastic. Like, for example, I started making sourdough. If you didn't notice, I didn't mention bread in today's video. I used to mention bread in these videos. I make sourdough now, which is a great step because we ate a lot of bread. And so making a couple loaves a week has reduced a lot of plastic packaging in our lives. So if you can find something like that, like if you consume a lot of bread, a lot of peanut butter, a lot of candy bars, find another way to make it plastic free, package free, or even try to make it yourself at home. That's a great step in the right direction. But these occasional things that you're buying for your health, for enjoyment, for entertainment, you know, one purchase per month, one purchase per quarter, one purchase per year, that's not destroying the planet. I mean, even your one purchase of bread per week is not destroying the planet, but I hope that you get the point. These occasional purchases that you're still buying in plastic, that's not the problem. Keep the enjoyment in your life, keep yourself healthy. Which, speaking of as well, if you want to learn more about how you can make your hobbies zero waste without sacrificing any fun in your zero waste life, you can check out this video next. Go check out my past videos to see how I've fluctuated, because I used to also like make my own peanut butter at home, my own butter, my own mayonnaise to reduce waste in that way. And you know, I've given up on some of those things. I've taken up new things like sourdough. So go check out my old videos after this as well. Let us know down below what you still consume in plastic. Just remember that nobody can be perfect, but your small actions do make a big difference in the long run. I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys. That was backwards, but oh well. I used to be very I'm gonna close the fridge. I'm gonna put this on autofocus.